What if the most dangerous edge in the Olympic Games wasn't carved into ice, but poured into a bottle? The night before the women's figure skating final, the Olympic Village was unusually quiet. Snow pressed softly against the glass of the residential towers. Flags hung motionless in the cold air. Inside, champions moved through rituals honed over decades, stretching routines, silent rehearsals, headphones on, eyes closed, visualizing quadruple jumps that would define their careers. Gold wasn't just a medal. It was contracts, endorsements, national pride, legacy, and she was the favorite. 21 years old, three-time world champion, the face of her country's winter campaign. Analysts called her program untouchable. Judges had rewarded her technical precision all season. Her triple axel landed like clockwork. Her step sequence devoured ice. Tomorrow night, she would likely become Olympic champion. But at 9:47 p.m., something changed. She took a sip from her water bottle, the same insulated silver flask she carried to every practice, and winced. At first, it was subtle, a faint bitterness. Unfamiliar. She assumed nerves. Elite athletes live with adrenaline, so constant it rewires the body. A racing pulse feels normal. A tight stomach is routine. But within minutes, the unease sharpened. Her vision blurred slightly at the edges. Her hands trembled. By 10:12 p.m., she was vomiting in the bathroom of her shared apartment suite inside the village. Team medical staff were called. Food poisoning, they said at first. Perhaps something from the cafeteria. But other athletes from her delegation had eaten the same meals. No one else was sick. By midnight, she could barely stand. Her coach paced the hallway. Her federation representative made discreet calls. No one wanted headlines hours before the final. At 1:03 a.m., she whispered something that would alter everything. It tastes wrong. The bottle. She insisted. The water tasted wrong. It had been in her locker during evening practice, left unattended for a short window while she met briefly with choreography staff. 6 minutes, according to rink scheduling logs. 6 minutes. That's all it would take. Security footage from the corridor outside the locker room later revealed the gap. Not a full outage, just a subtle glitch. Frame skipped. Time stamp drifted by several seconds. Nothing dramatic. Nothing obvious. Just enough to complicate certainty. At 2:40 a.m., blood work was drawn. By dawn, preliminary results showed trace amounts of a compound known to cause dizziness and gastrointestinal distress in small doses. Not lethal, not instantly incapacitating, but disruptive, extremely disruptive, especially for a sport dependent on balance, spatial awareness, and rotational precision measured in fractions of a second. The medical team could not confirm how it entered her system. Contaminated food? Possible. Supplement cross-reaction? Maybe. Intentional tampering? No one wanted to say it out loud. Morning arrived with media trucks parked outside the Olympic complex. Reporters speculated about illness. The official statement described it as dehydration. Inside her room, she attempted light stretching. Her edges were unstable. She fell twice on a simple warm-up spin. Her coach watched without speaking. Across the village, whispers spread. Athletes began locking their rooms. Water bottles were suddenly carried everywhere, even to breakfast. Energy drinks were sealed in personal bags. A rumor surfaced that another competitor's team had been seen near her locker area the previous evening. No confirmation, just fragments. The final would begin in 9 hours. She insisted she would skate. Withdrawal would guarantee silver at best in public perception, and suspicion would linger forever. Champions don't pull out hours before competition. They endure. At 7:32 p.m., under arena lights bright enough to erase shadows, she stepped onto the ice. Millions watching worldwide. Her opening combination jump required exact equilibrium. She pushed off. The rotation began. Mid-air, her axis drifted. The landing buckled. Gasps echoed through the arena. She steadied herself and continued, but the fluidity was gone. Spins traveled. Footwork faltered. The choreography that once sliced effortlessly through ice now felt hesitant. When the final note ended, applause was polite, not explosive. She would finish off the podium. The gold medal went to her primary rival. Cameras captured smiles, flag-draped shoulders, tears of victory. But behind the boards, she did not cry. She stared at her water bottle, held it tightly, as if it contained something more than melted ice. Hours later, an internal inquiry would quietly begin. No public accusation, no formal complaint, just a single question whispered behind closed doors. Was this illness or was it sabotage? And if someone had reached for gold through poison, who else knew? By sunrise, the Olympic Village had divided into two camps. Those who believed it was coincidence, and those who knew it wasn't. The official medical bulletin was cautious. Acute gastrointestinal distress, cause undetermined. No mention of compounds. No suggestion of tampering. The Games could not afford scandal 24 hours before a primetime broadcast finale. But inside the private medical unit reserved for elite delegations, the language was different. Trace compound detected. Low dose. Synthetic derivative commonly found in over-the-counter metabolic enhancers. Harmless in regulated amounts. Destabilizing in precise ones. The toxicologist explained it carefully. Ingestion at this level would not hospitalize her. It would not kill her. It would impair equilibrium, spatial timing, core stability, especially under high adrenaline. Exactly what happened on the ice. The compound was not part of her supplement routine. That was confirmed quickly. Her nutrition program had been audited before the Games. Every powder, capsule, and hydration mix documented and sealed. So how did it enter her system? Her water bottle was collected for testing. The outer rim showed no residue. The interior lining, however, carried trace presence, diluted but measurable. Someone had access. That's when security pulled badge swipe data for the locker corridor. Between 8:11 p.m. and 8:17 p.m., the 6-minute window, she had been in a choreography meeting. 5 entries were logged. 2 belonged to rink maintenance staff. 1 to her own teammate. 1 to a facilities supervisor. And 1, the 5th, registered as her own credential. But she wasn't there. The time stamp placed her across the complex. Security cross-checked camera angles in adjacent hallways. The footage showed someone wearing a team jacket consistent with her delegation's colors entering the corridor. Face partially obscured by hood. Head down. The resolution was too low to confirm identity. The swipe log showed her credential accessing the door. But when examined closely, analysts noticed something subtle. The access chip signal strength fluctuated abnormally. A clone badge. Rare, but possible. Cloning required proximity. Minutes at most. Close enough to copy the frequency, which meant someone had been near her recently. Close enough to brush shoulders. Close enough to smile. Inside the delegation meeting room that afternoon, tension fractured. The teammate whose badge appeared in the log denied entering her locker area. "I was stretching in the athlete's lounge," she insisted. Maintenance staff confirmed routine checks. Nothing unusual. The facilities supervisor claimed a system diagnostic had triggered his entry. Then came the second development. Another athlete from a rival delegation had reported mild nausea earlier that week, dismissed at the time as travel fatigue. No toxicology was performed. But now, whispers connected dots. Could this be broader? Could someone be testing methods? The Olympic Security Unit expanded the review. Food service was audited. Bottled beverages scanned. Nothing systemic appeared contaminated. This wasn't cafeteria sabotage. It was targeted, personal, precise. Then investigators discovered something even stranger. In the athlete services office, a discarded supplement packet was recovered from a trash receptacle in a common hallway near the rink. The brand matched the compound detected in her system. The packaging was empty. No fingerprints. No surveillance angle captured who discarded it. But here's the twist. That supplement brand was officially endorsed by a rival team's sports science division. Not illegal, not banned, widely available, but prominently featured in that delegation's performance program. The media had not caught wind yet, but inside the village, paranoia sharpened. Athletes began accusing each other quietly. One coach reportedly confronted another in a closed-door meeting. Voices raised, accusations implied, nothing recorded. The poisoned athlete, now bronze in standings, watched from isolation. She replayed moments in her mind. A handshake 2 days earlier with her primary rival. A brief collision in a crowded hallway. A shared elevator ride after practice. Harmless interactions. Unless they weren't. Her coach proposed filing a formal protest. Her federation hesitated. Without direct proof, the accusation could implode diplomatically. If wrong, it would brand her as unstable. If right and unprovable, it would destroy trust permanently. And then came the final complication. Forensic review of her water bottle cap revealed micro scratches along the threading, as if it had been opened and resealed recently. She insisted she had tightened it before practice. Always did. The bottle never left her locker, except during those 6 minutes. Investigators now faced two competing truths. Truth 1. An opportunistic rival cloned her credential, entered discreetly, dosed the bottle, exited unseen. Truth 2. Someone inside her own delegation, someone with routine access, staged the incident to implicate an external team. Sabotage, or manipulation. The medal ceremony photographs were already circulating globally. The gold medalist smiling, the fallen favorite applauding politely from a stance. Behind that applause, suspicion was crystallizing into something heavier. The Olympic Games Project Unity. But inside the village, now, trust was dissolving. And one question loomed larger than any triple axel. If someone engineered her fall, who benefits most? And who had the courage to risk everything for gold? By the third day after the final, the story had split in two. Publicly, the games moved forward without interruption. Medal tables updated. Broadcasters replayed the gold medalists' flawless program in slow motion. Analysts debated scoring margins. The illness was reduced to a footnote. Unfortunate timing, nothing more. Privately, the Olympic Security and Integrity Unit opened a quiet file. No press conference, no formal accusation, just a coded designation. Incident 27A. The athlete was interviewed first. They asked her to recount every detail from the day before the final. Who she spoke to, where she left her bag, when she last tasted the water, whether she noticed anything unusual. She described the bitterness again. Subtle, metallic, not strong enough to alarm her immediately. They asked whether she suspected anyone. She hesitated, then said no. Not because she didn't wonder, but because suspicion without proof is poison of a different kind. Next came the digital audit. Her credential was examined under forensic analysis. The chip showed evidence of signal duplication, a faint ghosting pattern consistent with near-field cloning. Cloning requires proximity under 30 centimeters. Close enough to stand beside someone in a hallway. Close enough to brush past them in a crowd. The list of individuals who had been within that radius during the previous 48 hours expanded rapidly. Teammates, rival athletes, coaches, media staff, volunteers. The village is dense during peak competition nights. Bodies move shoulder to shoulder. Anyone could have done it. That ambiguity was terrifying. Then the investigation widened beyond her. Medical logs from the previous 6 months were requested. Qualifying events, pre-Olympic training camps, exhibition competitions. That's when a subtle pattern surfaced. 3 months earlier, at a Grand Prix event in Eastern Europe, she had reported sudden dizziness during a short program warm-up. At the time, it was blamed on dehydration. She still won that event. No toxicology was performed. 2 months before that, during a closed training session abroad, she experienced mild stomach cramps hours before performing. Again dismissed. Normal athlete fluctuations. But now the timeline felt different. Was this the first successful attempt, or the third? The toxicologist re-examined archived blood samples from the Grand Prix event. Trace elements were too degraded to confirm. Inconclusive, but not clean. Then came the second athlete. A speed skater from a different delegation requested a private meeting with security. She had heard the rumors. She did not want her name attached. But she said something had happened earlier that week. 2 nights before the figure skating final, she left a protein shake unattended in the shared recovery room. When she returned, the lid was slightly ajar. She assumed paranoia. Still, she discarded it. No illness followed. Security checked footage. The recovery room camera had a blind spot in the exact corner where her bag had rested. A blind spot recently created due to equipment repositioning. Coincidence or preparation? Investigators now faced something heavier than a single act. They faced possibility. If someone was experimenting, testing dosage levels, the pattern fit. Small impairments first. No detection. Escalate gradually. Strike before the biggest stage. Inside the village, athletes stopped trusting communal spaces. Water bottles were marked with tamper tape. Some athletes hired private nutrition guards. Meals were eaten inside rooms. The gold medalist, meanwhile, denied everything. She issued a public statement expressing sympathy. Privately, her team submitted written assurance that they had no connection to any supplement matching the compound found, which was technically true. The supplement brand found in the trash was commercially available worldwide. No exclusive distribution, no paper trail. The clone credential analysis yielded no fingerprints, no identifiable device signature. Professional, clean, too clean. An internal ethics board convened. They asked a chilling question. If someone intended to destabilize her, why choose a compound that would not hospitalize? Why not something stronger? The toxicologist answered plainly, because a hospitalization would trigger criminal investigation immediately. Mild impairment invites doubt. Doubt protects the perpetrator. An athlete who collapses violently demands headlines. An athlete who simply performs below expectation invites speculation about nerves. The brilliance of it, if intentional, was subtlety. Sabotage disguised as pressure. The poisoned athlete watched replays of her program in silence. She noticed the micro-wobble in her landing, the half-second delay before spin entry. Moments invisible to casual viewers. Moments only an elite body would feel amplified. Her federation debated escalation. If they formally accused another nation without irrefutable proof, the diplomatic fallout could eclipse the games themselves. Olympics are political theater as much as sport. An allegation of sabotage would fracture alliances. And if they were wrong, her legacy would be stained by paranoia. Meanwhile, security uncovered one final anomaly. A maintenance contractor assigned to the rink had requested temporary access expansion 2 days before the final. The reason cited, equipment calibration. The access was approved automatically. The contractor's badge logs overlapped with a 6-minute window. When questioned, he claimed routine duties. He denied entering her locker area. His credentials showed no cloning signature, but his phone data revealed something curious. He had researched supplement dosages online the week prior. Nothing illegal, nothing conclusive, but unsettling. The investigation stalled. No confession, no smoking bottle, just fragments. 2 possible truths crystallized. Either a rival executed a precision sabotage with near-perfect subtlety, or someone internal engineered suspicion to destabilize trust across delegations. Both scenarios were catastrophic, and both were plausible. As the closing ceremony approached, officials prepared a confidential recommendation. Insufficient evidence to pursue formal charges. But inside the village, something irreversible had already occurred. The illusion of purity was gone, and the most dangerous element inside the Olympic Games was no longer performance-enhancing drugs. It was distrust. The closing ceremony rehearsal echoed through the stadium like a celebration rehearsed too early. Fireworks technicians tested ignition lines. Volunteers practiced flag choreography. broadcasters scripted sentimental tributes to unity and resilience. Inside the Olympic Village, unity felt theatrical. The poisoned athlete had stopped watching television. Her medal ceremony absence replayed everywhere. Commentators softened the narrative. Brave performance despite illness. Admirable sportsmanship. The gold medalist's victory story was already being mythologized. But legacy does not live in highlight reels. It lives in private memory and in doubt. Her federation president visited her apartment 2 nights before departure. He closed the door quietly, sat across from her, laid out the options. Option 1. File a formal grievance with the International Olympic Ethics Board. Demand expanded forensic review. Risk public scrutiny. Risk diplomatic rupture. Risk being labeled a sore loser. Option 2. Close the file. Accept the official conclusion of insufficient evidence. Preserve institutional relationships. Protect future event hosting bids. Protect sponsorship stability. He did not say what hovered between them. Filing a complaint without proof could isolate her internationally. Remaining silent could haunt her forever. She asked him one question. If it was intentional and we do nothing, what stops it from happening again? He had no clean answer. Across the village, another meeting was unfolding. The gold medalist's coaching staff had become aware of the internal investigation. They denied involvement categorically. Their athlete, they insisted, had earned victory cleanly. But denial does not eliminate suspicion. In elite sport, rivalry runs beneath politeness like a fault line. The 2 skaters had competed against each other since junior circuits, shared podiums, shared training sessions at international camps, smiles in front of cameras, calculation behind them. 3 days after the final, they crossed paths in the athletes' dining hall. No media, no entourage, just 2 competitors standing beside a coffee station. For a moment, neither spoke. Then the gold medalist said softly, "I'm sorry you got sick." It sounded sincere. It sounded careful. The poisoned athlete studied her face, searching for micro-expressions. Guilt, fear, knowledge. She saw none. Or perhaps she saw what she wanted to see. "Congratulations," she replied. 2 words, heavy as lead. They walked away in opposite directions. That night, the poisoned athlete received an anonymous message through an encrypted platform. No sender name, no identifying metadata. Just one sentence. "You weren't the first." Attached was a screenshot of a medical note dated 4 months earlier. A skater from a different country reporting unexplained dizziness before a continental championship final. The competition had been won by someone outside both their delegations. The note had been archived quietly. No toxicology performed. The implication was chilling. If someone had discovered a method subtle enough to destabilize performance without triggering criminal charges, and if it worked, why stop at one target? Her coach urged caution. Anonymous messages can be manipulation. They can be attempts to widen paranoia. But the seed was planted. Sabotage in elite sport is not theoretical. History carries examples of performance manipulation, chemical interference, and psychological warfare. The difference here was invisibility. Nothing dramatic. No hospitalizations. Just marginal decline at the exact moment gold is decided. The Federation's legal counsel drafted 2 statements. One asserting concern and requesting transparency. Another expressing gratitude for Olympic hospitality and closing the matter. Only one would be released. Meanwhile, sponsors began calling, concerned about reputation management. They preferred resilience narratives over scandal narratives. Redemption stories sell. Accusations complicate contracts. Her parents, watching from home, urge peace. "Let it go," her mother said over video call. "You can win the next one." But Olympic cycles are 4 years. Bodies change. Injuries happen. Timing shifts. There is no guarantee of return. The moral collision sharpened into a personal one. Does she protect the sanctity of the games or expose the fracture? Does she pursue truth, even if it cannot be proven? Or does she preserve her image and move forward? The ethics board delivered its internal recommendation the following morning. No conclusive evidence of malicious intent. Case to remain sealed unless new material emerges. Sealed, not dismissed. Sealed, which means it exists, but unseen. On her final night in the village, she packed her bag slowly. At the bottom of her suitcase, she placed the silver water bottle. Security had returned it after testing. They suggested discarding it. She refused. Evidence matters, even when incomplete. Before lights out, she drafted a statement. Not an accusation, not silence, something in between. She would call for expanded athlete safety protocols, independent hydration monitoring, credential encryption upgrades, more surveillance coverage in locker corridors. She would frame it as protection for everyone, not revenge for herself. If someone had engineered her fall, they would not receive exposure, but they would face new barriers. Sometimes justice is not catching the culprit. It is making repetition impossible. The closing ceremony fireworks erupted outside her window. Celebration, unity, global harmony. Inside her room, she held the bottle once more, turned it slowly in her hands, and asked herself the question that would follow her long after the snow melted. If gold can be bought with subtle poison, how many victories in history were never clean? 3 weeks after the closing ceremony, the Olympic flame was extinguished. Snow melted from the athlete balconies. Flags were folded. Temporary structures dismantled. The village returned to silence, as if nothing extraordinary had ever happened there. But files remained open, quietly, in a secured archive within the Olympic Integrity Office. Incident 27A was marked. Status: unresolved. Classification: insufficient evidence. Action: monitoring protocol recommended. Unresolved is not the same as untrue. It simply means the proof was never heavy enough to collapse the system. The poisoned athlete returned home to a reception split between admiration and unease. Some praised her resilience. Others whispered about excuses. Sports talk panels debated endlessly. Was illness the real reason for the fall? Or did pressure finally fracture her dominance? Without public confirmation of tampering, ambiguity became narrative. Ambiguity is dangerous in elite sport. It reshapes reputation. Yet something else was quietly reshaping the games themselves. 2 months after the Olympics, a policy proposal surfaced within the International Sports Security Consortium. Mandatory tamper evidence seals for personal hydration containers in Olympic locker rooms. Enhanced encryption for athlete credential chips to prevent cloning. Expanded surveillance angles eliminating corridor blind spots. Randomized toxicology spot checks following unexplained pre-competition illness. The proposal was framed broadly. Athlete welfare enhancements. No reference to her name. No public acknowledgement of Incident 27A. But insiders understood the catalyst. The gold medalist continued her victory tour. Commercials, interviews, award galas. When asked about her rival's illness, she responded consistently, "I hope she's healthy. Competition should be decided on the ice." Her tone never wavered. Steady, measured, either innocence or discipline. The maintenance contractor quietly resigned 6 weeks after the games. No formal charges. No public connection to the investigation. His personnel file cited personal reasons. When approached by investigative journalists months later, he declined comment. Coincidence? Perhaps. Or perhaps the heat of proximity became uncomfortable. The anonymous message sender was never identified. Cyber analysts traced the routing through layered encryption nodes spanning 3 countries. Professional, deliberate. The screenshot attached to the message could not be authenticated. It may have been real. It may have been psychological warfare designed to expand suspicion beyond a single incident. That uncertainty became the final fracture. The poisoned athlete chose her path carefully. In a nationally televised interview, she spoke without accusation. "I don't know what happened that night," she said calmly, "but I believe athlete safety must evolve with the times. We cannot assume integrity. We must protect it." It was neither surrender nor attack. It was pressure, institutional pressure. Sponsors shifted tone. Instead of framing her as the fallen favorite, they reframed her as an advocate for athlete protection. Redemption arc, resilience narrative. Her following grew. Public sympathy can be powerful, but private doubt lingers differently. Training resumed months later. Her first international competition back was quiet. Smaller arena, lower stakes. When she stepped onto the ice, she carried a new water bottle. Clear, tamper sealed. She checked the threading twice before sipping. Old habits die slowly. Her performance was sharp, edges clean, rotations centered. She won gold, not Olympic gold, but enough to remind the world she was still dangerous. Yet the shadow followed. In elite circles, a new phrase began circulating in whispers: microdosing sabotage. A theory that impairment without detection was the future of competitive manipulation. No evidence linked it to any specific team. No arrests were made. No medals stripped. But awareness changed behavior. Athletes guarded belongings fiercely. Delegations invested in private security consultants. Trust inside the village never fully returned to its previous innocence. And then, nearly a year later, during preparations for the next World Championships, another athlete from an unrelated delegation reported unexplained dizziness before a final. This time, toxicology was immediate. Nothing was found. But the test existed because of her, because of Incident 27A, because one performance had faltered under circumstances too precise to ignore. The official Olympic archive still lists her result as bronze. Statistics do not record suspicion. They do not capture bitterness on the tongue at 9:47 p.m. They do not record 6-minute windows. But somewhere inside a sealed evidence locker, a silver insulated bottle remains cataloged, threading slightly scratched. Interior lining tested and retested. A silent artifact from a night that reshaped protocol without ever proving a crime. And that is the most unsettling part. If someone engineered her fall, they were never caught. If no one did, doubt still accomplished damage. In the Olympic Games, gold is measured in grams. Balance is measured in millimeters. Trust is measured in perception. And perception, once fractured, never fully freezes smooth again. The question remains suspended in cold air, unanswered, but alive. Was it illness? Or was it precision sabotage, so subtle it rewrote the rules without leaving fingerprints? Because if gold can be shifted by a drop no one sees, how many champions stood on podiums while someone else held the truth in silence?